Good evening, Warriors! Back with another episode of Vigor Warriors 2 and the 1% Club. Hope you guys are doing well this evening. I have a little free time before I go to bed and get ready for the next great day tomorrow. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you guys are continuing to conquest. I'm getting more and more excited about this every day as we're going through this and continue to battle and battle on as we go through the life that we're with, the change, the superhuman strength that we have. It's unbelievable. A great person who I talked to, was a mentor of mine a long time ago, said that each person has to find their nature. And the reason why people are depressed and they have anxiety and they have conflict and psychiatrists and all these things is because they're not flowing like a river. They're not flowing with nature, with their God. And this is what happens a lot, especially to women and to men who don't have that sort of balance. They're all out of whack. And you see that craziness we have in society where people don't even know if they're males, females. They have no idea what's going on. And the best thing to do, my friends, is when you're on retention, and we'll do another video on this later, you are going into your nature. And that's the big thing about this. That the fact is, as time goes on, you're getting closer to your God, and now you're going to recognize your nature. So it's very good. Great comments, subscriptions, likes. Please continue doing that. I love it. There's a couple of shout-outs here. Limitless Vision, a couple comments. Thank you. I appreciate that. TKO, thank you. Optical Man, as usual. Optimal Man, as usual. Thank you. Leon W, thank you. Brazil, I know I'm yelling too loud, but my friend, I'll try to let you know ahead of time when it's coming, and you can kind of use it the way you want. I appreciate that. Cheng V, a beard, likes my beard. Thank you, Cheng. I appreciate that, my friend. GT500AL. And Sultan Iqbal had a question about sex toys used to prevent releasing seed. Well, going back to what we talked about, I think the key is you have to kind of use your own discretion, but the bottom line is you have to stop releasing. You have to stop releasing and stop watching the images. So as you go through, obviously, you know, you're going to have to take those steps. I don't believe in any sex toys. I just never got into that kind of stuff. I understand why people do it, but I think the key is going to be self-control and going to that nature of yours. And I think eventually what you want to do is get to monk mode. Now, how you get there, some people it took 30 years. It took me 47 years to get to some level where I can even do monk mode. But as we're going to talk about in a second here, one of the aspects is finding a balance in life so your life reflects your journey, and that's important. So anyway, thank you guys for all your comments. We'll continue as that 3-minute mark. We're going to do content here. So a shout out also goes out to NCIS 2023. NCIS, thank you very much for this comment. Question: is sleep important during your journey? And resounding answer for me is yes, for many reasons. Let's talk about it. So first of all, when you're sleeping, you're getting your full rest. Now, I only need to sleep 4 or 5 hours a night. So it's a case of me is that I've got to get those hours of sleep, or else I'm just not the same mentally aware of that person the next day. And regardless if you're on retention or not, if you're tired, you're more vulnerable also to temptation. Now, I remember, I go back to whether it's monk mode or I go back to releasing in the old days, the time that was most vulnerable is the time after 11 o'clock, midnight, and late at night. That's the time we tend to sit around and think about things, and that's when you tend to go ahead and go down that rabbit hole, and now you're closer and closer to temptation. And this is why we talk about this idea of trying to find things to do so that you're so exhausted, at least at the beginning, that you're not really thinking about women. You're thinking about your goals. You're going to sleep. You're getting up. And then as you build a habit, now you can sit and have a calmness, a relaxedness, where now you can make a choice and saying, I don't need to watch those movies anymore, those shows, and I'm going to go to bed at a reasonable time because I have to get up in the morning and do more things. And now you're excited about life, and this power is growing, and this power is getting stronger and stronger. And now you're at the point where now you don't need to actually go ahead and just keep yourself busy. Your mind is focusing really on your self-development and not all these other things that are going on. So sleep is crucial, in my opinion, when it comes to your retention. You want to be at 100%, and part of that is getting enough sleep. Now, some people need a lot more hours, and that's fine as well. You need to know in yourself as you go through Warriors, that's important. But as we talked about several things here, one of the things is obviously your own mental being and how your nutrients and all those things behave in your body. Your stress level, those things are all affected if you don't get a lot of sleep. If you're not at 100% physically, you're going to end up having issues. And if you're not getting enough sleep, your body's also going to tell you that it's time to sleep. You may fall asleep at the wheel of a car. You may fall asleep anywhere. If the sleep is piling up, eventually you're going to fall asleep. You're going to have to, because your body's telling you you cannot keep going. You need to take a rest. And that's why it's important to be able to go ahead and rest. Now, the rest part of it has to be a solid rest as well. So as we look at sleeping, it's important focusing to make sure that you're sleeping on an empty stomach, first of all. So I tend to stop eating about 8 o'clock or so I'm able to fast and I don't have a lot in my system. So I'm not getting up at night. I'm kind of sleeping through, and I'm trying to kind of be relaxed. Obviously, a lot of water, a lot of tea, a lot of those things that I used to drink a lot would keep me up more, or at least I would get up more. And so you're trying to avoid that so you get the best possible sleep you can. Also, in reading the book, The Immortal, and I'll have to show you, it talks about trying to sleep like a dog or a deer, in which you're kind of on your side and your knees are kind of scrunched together. That has worked phenomenally for me over the last few weeks since I've been reading the book. And when I get done with the book, I'll share you a lot more ideas with it. But it's very insightful when it comes to all the types of things that, you know, can make a person live longer. Now, I don't know whether or not there's controversy whether this person lived 250 years or not, but that's not really important. What's important is he lived a long time. And I think that's the key to what I want to do. And I want to kind of live victorious with my Lord and keep in the same kind of health and shape all these years as long as I can. And that to me is the whole key. So as you become more efficient, more effective, you look for ways. And sleep is a huge issue. So getting that sleep, getting uninterrupted sleep, being able to not have that stress. Stress is a killer, my friend. Stress during the day, stress at work. This is why it's important to not release, especially unless you're procreating, unless you want to have a child. It is better for you not to release and transmute that. If just alone, it allows you to focus, you're more relaxed, you're not going to go ahead and stress out. I used to be in high level of stress all the time when it came to when releasing. There's something about that when you're losing your nutrients and all of a sudden you're releasing, you are getting panicked and scared, and a lot of those, you know, behaviors that are not becoming of a masculine male who has that unbelievable power that we talk about all the time. And I just feel it, feel the energy inside. I feel the energy with this, and the idea is that it's going to keep growing and growing. Even at my age of 61, I feel unbelievable, and I don't want to lose that. So I'm going to continue doing this and continue to get that sleep. In a few minutes, I'm actually going to go sleep myself and get up in the morning and rising early. I get up early and walk my dogs early. However you do it, get ready for work, get up early, get things done, and all those things keep you away from the the temptation of looking at pictures, of focusing on women, and just keep going. The women will always be around, as we'll talk about in the next one. It's kind of like wild animals running around. They sense it. And I go back to the statement talking about nature. Part of the problem that this society has is that 90% of the people, in my opinion, are not following their nature. They're not comfortable in their own moccasins. They're not comfortable who they are. It took me a lot of years, by the way, and finally, at 61, I'm kind of getting closer to knowing what my nature is. And the nature we're talking about here, my friends, as being that masculine man. Do not feel apologetic for being that man. Do not feel apologetic for providing and protecting. And do not feel apologetic for this kind of stuff just because other people say that this is wrong or somehow not correct, or they could do it themselves. You are a male. You're the dominant dominion over the world. God has given you that ability over the animals. Now, use it wisely, responsibly. Don't let it corrupt you. But on the other hand, use it. Be that strong person. Don't be apologetic for it. That is your nature. And when we go to the nature, we talk about that wild beast, that person who's a dangerous person. When I talk about it, because down deep, that's who we are. We are that person. And once you realize that, and that's why I've started growing the beard, I'm a whole different person, because I realize my nature's coming out more and more. And that's the type of thing. However, you got to keep that going. Now, because of that, the attraction level is going to skyrocket, because other people know that you're in your nature. They sense it. And they can't help from staring at you. They can't help from being intimidated by you. They can't help liking you, males or females, because they sense that you are now in your nature. You're at peace. You're just flying down that river, one thing after another, until God is done with your purposes and you're going up to see Him. And that's the whole key to what I feel is true. And I think once we focus on this and we focus on the great power that you have, you're going to use it responsibly. But it all comes back down to making sure you take care of all the things around you that are important in your health, and promoting the Kelder's Fountain of Youth exercises, the eating the right way, exercising, as I said, weightlifting. I take the cold showers. I continue taking the cold showers. I don't care how cold it is. I love it. At the first time, it's hard to get in there, the first few seconds. Once you're in there, it's phenomenal to me. But that's my choice. You guys got to make your own choices as far as food and nutrition and spiritual and intellectual things you're doing. But you got to keep trying to better yourself. Don't focus on the women. Focus on yourself. Get better and better, and you'll be a high-value person. And now you get to call the shots, my friends. You're going to find out who you want. Now, remember, also, make sure you're deciding wisely. But a lot of this goes back to the basics. Getting sleep, exercise, making sure you're on top of your game at all times. And obviously, retention is a huge part of that. And if you happen to release, go back again and go back again. And just remember the habit you're forming. And this is why it's important to get some sleep so you're not in those dangerous situations. Prevention is part of the solution. Don't go to situations where you can actually go ahead. Get away from the TV set if you have to. Get away from the internet. Get away from long hours at night, staying up and not having anything to do and can't go to sleep. Try to get that sleep, right? Don't go into situations like bars and parties where wild parties going on. This just gives you an opportunity to be in the wrong place and the wrong time, and all of a sudden now you're doing things and going back to the way you feel, which is going to be terrible, because I know how it is. You know, something happens, you release, and now it's great for a couple seconds, and then you feel guilty, you feel bad, and that's the thing we're avoiding. So sleep is a huge one. So NCIS 23, is it 22,023? Thank you, sir, for your comments. It's a great comment to make. Sleep is huge, and it's important to get a good night's sleep. So I want everybody to get a good night's sleep tonight. And once again, remember two things before we leave. For those who don't like the screaming, I'm about to scream in a couple seconds. So if you want to turn it down, you can. But two things. First, always remember, every day is a new day to a great warrior who is strong and masculine. And the second thing, my friends, don't you ever forget to keep trying and to always